Three men and a multiverse of sci-fi's finest spacecraft. But which ones can claim to be the greatest ships ever? Welcome to Space Doc Jury.
Hello and welcome to Space Doc Jury episode 16. I'm Lee and I'm bringing the USS Voyager.
The spoon.
Shush!
I'm Peter, and because I don't give a shit, I'm bringing along Babylon 4.
And this is why you need to read the small print, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And I doff my cap to him for doing so.
God almighty.
And I'd like to say it gets better from there, but it really doesn't, because I'm Andy, and forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, and I am bringing the Event Horizon.
That's a whole load of Hail Marys.
Yeah. So, there you go. I'm Lee and I'm bringing a crate of booze.
I've got mine here, so...
Yes, hello. So, welcome to Space Doc Jury, episode 16. Yeah, in case you hadn't worked out, we are not doing shit spaceships or I've just had an embolism and made up my own rules episode. We're actually doing spaceships that got lost. And spaceships, it would seem to be, are in the loosest sense of the term.
Things that fly through space that got lost.
Yeah. Could have been anything. Well, it was either that or a boat, wasn't it? Really?
Yes, it was that or Planet of the Apes.
Although we
never know. I'll bring that another time.
Yeah, the next one.
Yeah. Nice. Anyway, so we'll be bringing lost spaceships to the table this week. And before we do, let's get on with our top 10. And the top 10 stands like this. At number 10 is the big black thingy of blackness, which is the Shadow Battle Crab with 57 points. At number 9, still hanging in there, is the Normandy SR-1.
The little ship which could.
Yeah, which is still hanging in there with 57 points. Sitting above it in position number 8 is the meat, 2 veg, loads of ribs, all hanging in space, the USG Ishimura with 60. And above that is the USS Defiant, a.k.a. the Dustbuster, with also 60 points.
Actually, I'm much more surprised that one's still standing there, to be perfectly honest.
I am still amazed that's even in
Tough
place.
little ship, that's why.
Yes, it is a little shit.
Little. At number 6, moving down the charts for the first time in ages, is the SSD Executor, which has got 62 points.
It's a very slow crash.
Very slow, inevitable drift to the bottom.
I think that was the first one I took that crashed, wasn't it? That started the thing.
Started the trend. So, but above that, at number 5, is the Time War Dalek motherships of New Who, sitting at 63 points. Don't boo. Don't boo it. It's fine. Shut up. Anyway, sorry, now you made me burp. Anyway, at number 4, slowly moving from its top 3 spot, is the Battlestar Pegasus with 64 points. Superseded by the Battlestar Galactica with 65 points.
So something's going wrong when a 70-year-old ship beats the newer model. But there you go.
There you go.
Like that.
Yeah.
I like
Yes.
Yeah. At number 2, still sitting pretty as a big cube or the massive paperweight in space, it's the Borg Cube with 67 points. And, of course, unchanged at the top is the big flying snowplow dildo of holiness, which is the Vengeful Spirit with 69 points. Anyway, so, and just to update, Slanishi Watch, I found a whole site which is dedicated to it on what was it, DeviantArt the other day.
I don't know what's worse, that you were looking for it or you were looking for it on DeviantArt.
No, I was just decommissioning my account
I'm sure you were.
No, it wasn't.
As the bishop said to the
Yes. Internet history. Delete.
Yeah, just killing off my no. No, and the thing was, I noticed that someone had actually left a comment on one of my pieces of artwork for the first time ever, and so I thought, oh, I wonder who that is, because I might not actually delete my account. And I went on and I looked, and this guy was like, he does, shall we say, photo manipulations to make Slanishi art. He doesn't even draw it. He gets ladies of
page 3 girls.
Well, yeah, not always, but yes. And yeah, basically photo manipulates various bug bits into their photographic bodies.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Not exactly what I would call the greatest 5 minutes of my life, especially not when I'm sitting at work.
I was going to ask when you're doing it at work. And you wonder why no one will come near your desk.
Yeah. Never mind. I won't finish that sentence. So, yeah, so the Nishi watch, I'm just going numb to it now. I think.
There you go. So.
Comfortably numb.
Comfortably numb, yeah. There is no pain. You are receding, like big pink Slanishi on the horizon. Anyway, so as we've said before, we're having lost ships this week. And as is tradition, the loser from last time gets to go this time first. Now, as we know, Jeff from Accounts and a Mountain didn't add up to much. And the arc from Transformers failed miserably. So I'm afraid, Pete, it's up to you, sir, to bring Babylon 4.
I'll give you a bonus point if you can get it to 28, though.
We shall see. Challenge accepted.
Fucking hellfire.
Babylon 4. Unsurprisingly, the fourth of the Babylon stations, well, duh, built to promote galactic peace, the latest in a line of last best hopes for peace, but clearly not the very last, because that would be Babylon 5, wouldn't it?
Do you think it was built by that bloke from the Holy Grail? They said I was crazy to build a castle in a swamp.
Yeah. Yes. May well have been, yes. From the brains of J. Michael Straczynski and from his mighty sci-fi series, its predecessors were taken out by terrorist attacks, whereas Babylon 4 disappeared mysteriously just after construction was completed. Its fate only explained in Season 3 of the series. I'm not going to say any more because you haven't already watched Babylon 5, and you really should. I don't want to spoil you. Let's just say it plays a key role in the series' mythos. Constructed out of the remains of the previous stations, Babylon 4 was actually larger than its successor and a good deal more green, it turns out. Never been properly commissioned, the station's temporary commander was one Major Lewis Krantz. Not the most reassuring CO, but then he and the crew were being driven crazy by the fact the station was being plunged in and out of time. As with Babylon 5, B4 is equipped with rotating hull sections, providing artificial gravity. But a crucial difference for the older station was that it was equipped with engines, enabling it to change location. Admittedly, clearly, very slowly, but qualifying it for consideration on space dock. Woohoo!
Damn you loopholes!
We don't see too much of the station in the series for reasons. So I'm also making use of the canon Michael Straczynski penned comic book called In Valen's Name, what Andy kindly lent me. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir.
So you're to blame with this.
Oh, I'm totally. We were sitting in the pub, and we were sitting in the pub, and I mentioned this would probably be eligible because of the engine.
You motherfucker! Good night, everybody.
That's right. It was me, Eduardo.
It's presented in a similar way to Babylon 5, a hollow interior, so sort of inside-out environment of huge dimensions, utilising monorails to provide transport between sections, as well as an ample docking space for visiting spacecraft. Babylon 4 is also equipped with a similar Cobra Head-shaped landing bays to its successor, providing storage for a defence force of Star Furies. So, shall we rate this massive, great big chunk of station?
It's a big space dingus.
It's 6 miles of space dingus, as you put it.
Six,
which is 9.7 kilometres, which scores 12 on our rating system.
Fuck, it does. Mother.
Relax, Lee, because
Yeah.
it's literally it for him.
Just in comparison, Babylon 5 was only 8 kilometres long, but they were running out of budget from losing the other stations at that point, so it ended up smaller.
So they just nobbled it together with what was left.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose
Speed.
nothing would be left, though, because they built it all into Babylon 4. Anyway, yes.
Speed. Sublight.
1.
It moves, but it's unknown speed, and it's clearly very slow. I mean, a huge, great big station.
It has an ion drive, and I know for a fact you're talking months, if not weeks, to get anywhere.
Down the shops.
Yes. So you can have...
We're running out of milk. Start the engines. Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. We're running out of milk next week. Well, we better get a move on.
Yeah. So definitely 1.
Yep.
Definitely 1.
For Fast and Life? That's Red Dwarf, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fast and Light even, I'd love to be able to plumb for the 6 with the wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. But sadly, the time travel wasn't actually built as standard.
It was not.
It was
No.
as a result of outside interference from Zaphras, so it was.
And it was decidedly one way.
So, score it 0, I think, for that one.
Mark it 0.
Market 0!
Well, hold on. Hang about. See, I have a touch of the devil in me on this one.
Yeah, I know you do. And you've not even gotten to your ship yet.
Yeah, I know. Hee. How did it get from where it was built to its initial location before it disappeared?
It was built where it disappeared.
Was it?
Yep.
It didn't get built and then moved somewhere else. Oh, right. Okay, fine. That's cool. Then I no further questions, Your Honour.
We can move on.
We can move on.
To manoeuvrability.
Yeah.
It's a great big fucking space station. Can't imagine somebody there with a big steering wheel, can you? Hey!
No, but I have to say at this point, I'm surprised Andy didn't take it for its complete lack of manoeuvrability and brickness.
This is beyond the brick. This is a blooming.
I think
girder.
this might actually be eligible for a 0 score for manoeuvrability, because while it can technically move, as I mentioned, it takes weeks to go anywhere. It's like you fire up the engine, and the distance between where Babylon 5 and Babylon 4 was is about 3 hours in the shuttlecraft and everything like that. It would have taken Babylon 4 probably close to 6 months to cross that distance. So,
yeah,
I'd plummet for a 0, frankly.
I mean, presumably it can steer, but to such a small degree that
It's like trying to steer a space station, I imagine.
Well, funny that, yeah.
Yeah, bizarre that, isn't it, really?
Everybody move to the left.
It's a fucking space station. It's like trying. I tell you what. I'll move the galaxy around me. It's easier. I'll just wait for the stars to align and fly in a straight line. Fuck it. Yeah, it's getting a 0. Bollocks to that. It's getting nothing.
Yeah.
It is by definition a space station.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's something that in its own title infers the word stationary. As in static, as in not bloody moving, as in anyway, go on.
And its scoring is probably going to reflect that. Okay, moving on to firepower. It doesn't have any offensive weaponry, only defensive batteries, but it does have armed support craft in the form of Star Furies.
Right,
So that scores it 1.
that scores it a 1. Okay. I mean, because it does have. Well, no, I suppose it doesn't. I mean, I was going to say those defensive batteries can be used defensively, surely.
It does have the defense grid, but it's going to have one that's probably at least as advanced as Babylon 5's was at the beginning of Babylon 5 before it was upgraded. And although we can assume the Minbari upgraded it, it's never mentioned in the comics if they did or what it's capable of. And as we have to do with our rules, if we don't know, we assume the lowest common denominator.
So any upgrades that it would have got, if we knew it got an upgrade, that would have been fine.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Because it was. I don't want to give too much away about the plot, but it was used as a mobile fortress. But it would have been relying a lot on the ships that were docked with it, basically.
And any upgrades that happened to it afterwards, but we didn't see that. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
So defense.
Okay. 1 for the defence grid.
For active defence, yep.
Passive, it's got presumably very heavy armour. Certainly Babylon 5 survived taking quite a bit of a pounding over the years because it didn't have any shields.
Yeah. And it was putting up with a lot going through in and out of that time thing. Being ripped apart. So
I think that scores it 3.
Does indeed.
And then special, I'm not particularly aware of any, I must admit.
Well, how do the fighters count? Because it must...
We've already counted them down as firepower.
Right,
firepower,
fair enough.
Support craft under that, yeah.
What about wibbly wobbly timey wimey?
Again, that wasn't fitted as standard, so we're not counting
Fair
that.
enough.
And I don't think Zaphras scores any points either. So
no,
Zaphras would, but not Zaphras.
Yeah.
Fuck Zaphras. Zaphras knew what Zaphras did.
Yeah, Zaphras knows what he's done. Zaphras is... Yeah. Anyway, go on, carry on.
Crew! In terms of numbers, according to Major Krantz in Babylon Squared, there were 1,200 to 1,300 of a Skellington crew prior to evacuation, which is an interesting definition of Skellington, but it is a bloody big space station.
Yeah.
So by the time of War Without End, that's gone up to nearly 2,000.
Yep. So
and 2,000 scores.
6.
Can I ask you to cite your... where
this
you
is
mentioned that in War Without End?
It's in the dialogue. I literally was watching it a couple of days ago and wrote it down. Because, when I saw it in the wiki, I thought, I'm sure there aren't that many ships bringing people off. But he actually says it in the dialogue. It's like, oh, okay, right.
Yeah, because there is that whole thing of like he has to offload all the crew before it does it again. And
but they mentioned, again, from Babylon Squared, there's 1,300 crew which need to be evacuated, and they have, 6 hours or something like that to get them off, so they just have all the shuttles going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, but even if it's 1,300 or 2,000, it still scores 6.
Okay. Yeah.
So...
Skill, on the other hand, they're all driven mad basically by travelling in out of time. Zaphras is one of the more sane ones, yes.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere between 1 and 2.
I mean, they are EA, officers. So I mean, they're not.
They're construction workers, aren't they? They're like the guys building the Death Star.
Yeah, I mean,
they know how to install a toilet.
Yeah,
I mean, when you actually watch it when they're evacuating the people, they're just acting like crazed idiots. There's no sort of military discipline about them whatsoever. So,
well, they're not complete incompetence. They've been driven mad by circumstance. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I would be happy to give them a 2.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Cool. Okay. Here we go.
Realization. It's a nice design, delineated from Babylon 5. It's a lot bigger.
It looks like a dildo.
It doesn't. Bloody hell! I wouldn't want to be using that dildo because it gets very wide towards the end.
I never said it was a comfortable dildo.
No. Bloody hell! It suffers from early CGI-itis, as all of Babylon 5 does. The White Star, I note, got 3. The Agamemnon somehow got 4. So the most I'm asking for is 3.
And you shall have it.
Cool.
Yep, okay.
Interior. Yeah, we don't see a great deal. And what we do see is redressed Babylon 5 sets.
It does look suspiciously similar to Babylon 5.
Yeah. A bunch of green gels over lights, basically.
Yeah, replace the blue with the green and we'll call it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't see that very many sets either, so I think 2 for that at most.
Really? I mean, I would have given them 3 because they at least look like a reasonable set.
I think you can argue it as well, just because, again, it's expanded in the comic book to a certain extent, and you get the sense of the size inside. You see the what remains of the fields and everything there, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing the comic book. If you're counting the comic book, then go with 3.
It's still canon, so...
Okay,
they actually use one of the monorail cars to squash the guys who are attacking the station, which is quite funny in comics. So it's good stuff.
Okay, so science.
It's a flying massive space station.
Space station, you say?
Yes.
On a podcast about spaceships.
So
you say.
Its science is probably pretty limited. I can't help feeling.
Indeed.
To be fair.
It does have its gravity explained.
Well, it's got its gravity, but the engine itself is an ion drive. and it is explained that it's the largest ion engine ever installed. And the way an ion drive works is it's a tiny amount of thrust over a long period of time is how it moves. So it's a sense of it blasts ions out the back of this thing, and that's why I said it could take you months to do what usually takes 3 hours. The science there is pretty sound. The New Horizons probe we just sent to Pluto and all that uses an ion drive. So the science on the engine side of it is sound.
Mm-hmm.
Is all I'm saying.
So what do you want to say? What, a 3?
Well, what are Babylon 5 ships typically scoring? I mean, we gave the Agamemnon 4. The White Star we gave 3, but the White Star we gave 2, but that's more vol-y sort of stuff. I mean, I think you can argue a 4 because again, it's Babylon 5. They did put a lot of thought into it. It's things like you have the heat dissipation panels for the fusion reactors, which are not solar panels like everyone always thinks. They're there to dissipate the heat from the bloody fusion reactors. Plus, with Babylon 4, something you didn't mention, which is kind of cool though, is it has counter-rotating sections. The inner section rotates in the opposite direction to the outer section.
But that makes science worse.
It does actually, yeah. 3.
3?
It looks cool though.
It looks
It does
cool.
look nice.
But if you've got something that's essentially counteracting the rotation of the thing before it, it means that essentially somewhere in between those two rings, there's either massive gravitational forces or there's nothing.
Well, it's going to be a case of if you want to get from one bit to the other, you kind of like go, try and get to the door. It's coming up any minute now. Wait for it,
3,
wait for it. And
2.
oh no, you missed.
Oh no, you've missed.
It'll be around again in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you've been sliced in half between the two sections. Yeah. Okay, so 3.
Mind the gap.
Yeah. Okay, cool factor.
Cool fact. Well, if this were Babylon 5, which it can't be because Babylon 5 doesn't qualify, I would have given it 4. It's not as cool as Babylon 5, so I'm giving it 3.
Andy?
I quite like Babylon 4. I actually prefer the design of 4 over 5. It might just be because, a little bit strange is always nice compared to what you're familiar with. But I'll give it 3.
Really? Keep that to yourself, mate. You're going to give it a what, sorry?
You said 3.
3, so that's 6. I am registering a protest vote. I'm giving this fuck all. I'm giving this nil point. The reason I'm giving it nil point, and I want it noted down, is it's a fucking space station. It's a space station, and therefore is not a cool spaceship. It's a space station. Nil point.
It is noted under protest, sir.
By fucking jingo, it should be. Because you know what? The score is 41 points.
It is. That's not bad.
I think we should take some points away because he didn't hit 28.
Yeah, I was going to say, take away approximately sort of like 13 points.
Exactly, yeah. Minus 13.
Yeah, minus 13 because Pete.
Because it's not a spaceship, it's a space station.
Reasons.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not my fault I chose one that didn't actually crash into a mountain.
It's amazing that the highest...
Excuse me, sir. You have that comic in front of you. For the audience, what happens at the end of that comic?
It does get kind of badly damaged and then gets caught in the gravitational pull.
And
then crashes. At the end of its useful life, though, I mean, it served a long while.
So, hold on. So, let me get this straight. Not only did you pick a space station, ladies and gentlemen, but you brought a space station that, like every other ship you've done, crashed into a geological feature.
Yeah, but it took a long time in doing it.
Doesn't matter how long it takes. It's not a question of where. It's not a question of.
It's not a question of weight ratio. It's just a simple question.
It's just not a question of where it grips it. It's a simple weight to airspeed ratio.
It crashes to a planet.
Oh my!
It's blasted
God.
out of the sky. Yeah.
What,
it's not as a result of a piloting error though this time.
Really? Oh well, that makes all the difference.
Or the fact the lasers ran out because they were shooting asteroids when they could have been shooting Decepticons.
Or Jeff from accounts.
Or Jeff from accounts didn't transform and save them. Yes, that didn't happen either.
But it did kind of come as a result of something they did prior to that. So it did kind of exacerbate things.
But it achieved a lot, damn it. It became legendary.
Yeah.
You can't say that about many of my choices.
No.
That's true. It's true. This will go down in history as
being one of the ones that actually stayed in space.
For a bit.
Until it didn't.
For a bit. For a bit.
All right, thank you.
Fucking 41 points for a space station. In a
Most
spaceship.
of those with size.
Oh. Yeah, I was going to say, if you take the size away, the thing gets about sort of 22 points. Actually, it gets 27 points. No, it gets 29. If you took size away, it gets 29 points. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Well done, Pete.
Thank you.
I'm magnanimous. If nothing else. Honest. I'm just going to burp. Right. Okay. In this absolute clusterfuck of an episode, let's have a look at what else we've got. Well, I suppose it's up to you now, Andy.
Oh, I think you'll find I won last week, sir.
Did you?
Jog on, old sport.
Oh. Okay. Well, then it's my turn then. Okay. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Star Trek Corner. Star Trek Corner has this thing here.
Don't you just love Star Trek, Lee? Don't you just love it? Renee Sells, the warp cores.
I've learnt to loathe
Klingons.
I've learnt to loathe it, and more.
The Neelixes.
Well, here we go then. So fire up the theme tune, so at least there's something good going on here.
Oh, is that Kez?
I'll see if I can find a MIDI version for you.
Yeah. Right, okay. So, the USS Voyager, first commissioned and launched in 2371. It's a Federation Intrepid class ship with a registry number of NCC 74656. It's 343 metres long and a width of 116 metres, comprising of 15 decks. The ship itself, hold on, let me just go through some of this stuff. Blah, 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 blah. That's it. Shall we rate this bugger?
Well, the nacelles move. That's kind of unusual.
Okay, hold on.
It has the single worst captain in all of Starfleet history.
Well, we'll get to that. It was developed and built at the Utopia Planitia Fleet Yards. The initial version was the Intrepid. The class entered service a year before Voyager. The Voyager was actually the second ship commissioned. And it's one of the first ships to test the new Warp 9 drive for deep space travel. After that weird subspace bollocks episode that was in Next Generation.
They quickly forgot about. Yes.
Well, they remembered it. They remembered it for a couple of episodes, and then they also remembered it for First Contact, where it's sort of you can't travel faster than Warp 5 in case you could do ecological disaster in space. But anyway, it would only be it's the most modern ship in the fleet, and would only be superseded by the following year by the Sovereign class.
Which you'd much rather be taking.
Which I would much rather be taking.
Patience.
Nah, not for a while yet. Anyway, so it had 15 decks. It was unique amongst Federation ships in that it had its computer chips weren't actually chips; they were actually biological gel packs.
I forgot that. Yes, they got a cold or something, didn't they, one week? Oh.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, the idea being that because the ship was essentially alive and could, in theory, think for itself and a faster processing rate, and it had the best sensor sweep of any Federation ship, it could be a deep space explorer if need be, though it wasn't designed to be. It wasn't sort of the initial trip of the Voyager wasn't meant to be that case. The ship can sustain a travel, making it the fastest ship in the fleet, of warp 9.975, meaning it could actually travel further and faster than most Federation ships for a much longer time. It could sustain that travelling speed for 2 years before it needed to refuel, making it actually, for a small ship, remarkably sorted for deep space travel, which is a bit bizarre because you would have thought something bigger that had more space for people.
You'd almost think they didn't think it through.
It's almost like they didn't think it through. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's on the Voyager. The Voyager is unique amongst Starfleet vessels until the Sovereign class, and then later on the much more weird, beardy Dauntless class, and then the Prometheus class, and all the other crappy classes that came out immediately afterwards, including the Equinox. But before that, it turned out that the Voyager was unique in it had like a number of external shield grids. It had 14 in total, multi-phasic, multi-spectrum shielding, which was allowing it to sort of survive Borg attacks once they entered sort of the Borg area of the Delta Quadrant.
You mean once the writers decided that?
Well, you see, that's the problem. You see, it's there. It's canonized. If we can canon the fact that the bloody space station can move and therefore is a spaceship, you have to accept this crap.
Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right. It is crap.
Yeah, exactly. The spacecraft had on deck 10 had a large shuttle bay.
With Gallifreyan technology.
Yeah, with Delta flyers and various other bits and pieces. What else can I think? Well, the weapons. The weapons are interesting because this goes back to something which we just included in our scoring, that if it gets an upgrade, it gets counted. So that's handy because the Voyager, towards the end of season 7, towards the end of the show, got a massive bloody set of upgrades, care of time-travelling Admiral Janeway. Oh, no, there's no coffee here.
If I could just point out, however, events which were put out by Admiral Janeway would have negated those upgrades, wouldn't they? Because she altered the future, because she stopped them having to go back into the... She removed the fact that she then had to go into the future to travel back into the time to give them the upgrades.
Did or did it not happen?
Yes, but then the timeline was...
Thank you. There you go. No further questions, Your Honour. Moving on.
We wish it didn't.
Yeah.
But that meant that what happened is that the Voyager, by the end of its journey, was actually fitted with ablative shielding, which could actually sustain Borg attacks quite happily.
Yeah, that was a fantastic effect, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm not saying it wasn't a good effect. It's not going to score well on realisation. And then it also got the rather, shall we say, oh God, how can I put this? The story convenient transphasic torpedo launcher, which could, and I quote, one-shot a Borg cube. So there you go. The engines, as I've already described, the warp nacelles could angle to make it fly faster and more efficiently. And in the end, thanks to all sorts of manners of whizzy-bangery, the Voyager ended up travelling 75 years' worth of time in 7 years. But, yeah, that's all because reasons. So, shall we rate this bugger?
Oh, by all means.
Yes. Okay, so...
On any other day, giving Mr. Kicking would be the highlight of the day. We've still got Event Horizon to go, but for now, let us warm up.
Let's
Let's warm our shoes up.
Let's warm our shoes up, and let us hope that Lee doesn't forget that this is a Star Trek ship, and his love of the show, such as it is.
Yeah, something tells me that you don't really want this to score well, but I'm actually feeling...
Oh, fight his corner all you want. I'm quite confident.
Yeah, I know. Anyway... So, let's rate its size. First things first, let's just get the size out of the way. Longest size, 343 metres, which gives it a size of 3.
Mm-hmm.
By my measure.
Yep.
Right, okay. Sublight, well, it's the same as all the other blooming impulse engines.
It's all the Trek ones.
All the Trek ones.
All the same. So Trek, give it its Trek FTL and give it its...
Well, it's a Trek Sublight of 5, but the FTL... The FTL is kind of a little bit odd because the thing is, it does travel as fast as all the other ships. However, it does travel slightly faster and for longer, and I don't know if there should be some kind of...
It doesn't do enough faster or for longer to make a difference in the grand scheme of how we're scoring things.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to work out, whether or not so...
It's not like... I mean, if it ever managed to get the slipstream drive actually working, you might have had a case. But every time they used it, it ended up killing everyone on board.
Yeah, well, there was also...
Which, let's face it, that was one of the best episodes.
Yeah, the quantum slipstream. There was also the... Yeah, never mind. Yeah, that was the one...
And
that
then also with the transwarp conduits, with Borg transwarp, it's like jump gates where you need to enter through a gate rather than anything. So again, it's like... I still think you're talking Trek FTL. Because,
that's fine. That's fine. I'm not... I was just because they made such a big point of it in the wiki about it being like the fastest of all Federation ships.
Which is
In
bollocks.
fact, our scale only goes up to 6, and that's only because we introduced 6 as wibbly-wobbly time travel, so we're a bit limited on that one, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. Which is the same deal for manoeuvrability as well, because it's actually more manoeuvrable than pretty much any other Federation ship, barring the Defiant.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of stuck on a sort of...
Not that they ever demonstrated it.
Well, you saw it once or twice, but the thing is, the point was it was clearly a smaller and more nimble vessel than, say, a Galaxy class.
Yes,
so,
no disagreement there.
So the question is, does that count as a 4? Because I think 4... I don't know where we put Defiant.
Defiant was 4.
Defiant was 4, but
and
I don't
3
think
is Trek
it's...
capital ships.
I think it's 3 because I don't think Voyager has ever demonstrated anything close to the level of manoeuvrability you saw with the Defiant.
Okay, fair enough. So we're on to firepower. Well, firepower, as I said, it can with fitted transphasic torpedoes, one shot a Borg cube. That is one shot a capital ship. That's a 10.
You know what? I can't even be asked. Fuck it, have your 10.
That's fine.
Don't care. Don't give no shits.
Yeah, fine. Right, as far as defense, active defense, well, that's 0. It's got no way of shooting shit down unless you count Harry Kim basically thinking up reasons.
Nope.
So that's nope. Passive, well, we've got this ablative armor balls, so it's above. So it's above trick shields.
Look at my ablative armor balls.
Not armor balls. So it's above trick shields, which are normally 4.
Yeah.
So it's a 5.
It ends up with perfect shields just because that's the only way they can explain how they survived the Borg.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that's why I was trying to get very clear on Babylon 4. Do we count things that are upgraded? And if that's the case, then sorry.
I don't think it. Well, again, all I'm just saying is you're involving timelines and shit like that. But you know what? Have your extra 2 points if it makes you feel better. It's all right.
Don't passive aggressive me, mate. Fucking hell. If you want to take the wibbly wobbly timey wimey route, then we whip all the shit away from Babylon 4. It just disappears down a wormhole. Right, okay, so for special, yeah, that's a funny one. Nothing really. That should be a big fat nil. Crew size. Now, hold on. I was trying to find the crew size, but I can't actually find the crew size. And I will gladly take any help that anyone cares to give me on that one, because
to the internets.
I'm looking on Wiki, and I'm looking on
150.
150. Right, okay, fair enough.
Well, at least it launched with 150.
Yeah, it ended up with like closer to 300 by the time it got to the end, I would imagine, because it pretty much doubled its crew by the end.
Well, theoretically, lots of them should have died.
Yeah, I was going to say, they all died, didn't they?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, here you go. Intrepid had 141 when it departing Deep Space Nine.
There you go. So that's a 4, even if it went up to 250, which it doesn't really matter. So it's 4.
Right.
Crew competence.
There you go. Right, here we go.
Here we go. Right, warm your engines. Right. First off, we have a Starfleet crew. So technically that should be a 5.
No, that's only legendary stuff.
Hold on. No, just chip.
Oh, we'll let him do his bit, and then we'll...
Hold on. Should be a 5. But then we look at things like the Reliant crew, and they get a 4. So we come down to 4. Then what we do is we mix in the Marquis, people who weren't good enough to be in Starfleet or who left. So now we're down to 3.
Or who were fired.
Yeah, who were fired. Then what happens is about halfway through season 5, they come across the USS Equinox. The Equinox is basically turns into basically a feral ship, complete bunch of arseholes, and not only that, but then when the ship is destroyed, what does Janeway do? She takes 5 of them on board and then gives them jobs and says, "Oh, yeah, it's fine. You can be part of the crew." So we take it down to 2. Then what happens is we bring on board an alien which can only live up to the age of 9. So basically she's not really much use. So that brings it down to 1.
And she turns against them.
And she turns against them and ends up blowing them up, sort of Akira style. So that's down to 1.
Tetsuo!
Yeah, Tetsuo! Then what we do is...
If only she were that cool.
Yeah, exactly. Then what we do is we go, well, okay, what about the actual standard crew? Well, we've got a captain who doesn't understand how timers work and basically strands her entire crew. So that's we're down to 0. Then we've got...
Not even to mention the assault on the Temporal Prime Directive in that last episode of it.
Yep, yeah, of course, yep, fucking with the timelines. Then on top of that, but then again, every Starfleet captain's done that, so that
not to the level she fucking well did.
Well, yeah, fair enough. Then what we do is we look at the medical crew. Hold on, it's a bloody hologram. Okay, so we're down to -1. And then what we do is we bring along Neelix, the morale officer, and Harry
Cook.
And Cook. And on top of that, we also mix in Harry Kim, an ensign who remains an ensign on the regardless of the fact that he survived and built and saved the ship so many times. We also have a dodgy Klingon officer. We have a marquee person who basically double crosses them. We have, basically what we're doing is if you take it all into account and if you cover the numbers, cross the 10, pull the number down from 4, I'm asking for a -50.
You know what? By all means, sir.
Right. So there
I was only going to say -32, based mainly on Janeway, but -50. Fuck Janeway and her fucking crew. They are the absolute worst of Starfleet ever.
Do you have any objections there, Pete?
I feel that's somewhat on the harsh side, but go with it if that's what you want
we will accept the case for the defence.
Well, it is taken as a whole. They're not great. Individual episodes. Yeah, all right. Neelix probably.
And we're not talking epic. We're talking the crew and their performances. The only possibly competent officer on that entire ship, possibly, is the Vulcan, who we know has fucking post-traumatic stress and psychological issues, and it quite possibly becomes a serial killer once he gets back. That's the high watermark.
Yeah, their helmsman is a criminal. So yeah, all good. So -50 I'm asking for. And I won't hear any more than -40.
Any of the Trek series, and I'd be running to its defence, but Voyager can go fuck itself.
Right, there you go. Right, exterior. Realization exterior. I think it's an interesting design. I don't think it's as horrible as some later What the Treks that we've seen. I think it led the vanguard for some of the more spoony looking ships. So it doesn't.
It is basically it is patient zero of them kind of going off in that way, isn't it? Because it's and the weird thing is some of the concepts were atrocious, but that final pre-production model, I quite like that. I think that would look quite good. But then for whatever reason they said, fuck these nacelles, we don't need that shit. Let's just put these little diddly things on there.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's all very forward heavy. It doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And when it lands, it just looks shit.
Oh, don't with the big feet.
Yeah, with the big feet. So I'm going to give it a 3 for exterior.
Generous.
Well,
I would have gone for a 2 myself.
I'm going to give it a 3 because I think at the time when it came out, it was a unique look for Trek, and if I knew where it was going to lead, I probably wouldn't have appreciated it as much. But at the time, and like all Trek ships, it has a lovely sort of one angle, and then everything else looks a bit duck face. But I think 3. Andy?
Yeah, I'm in a weird position. This probably will reflect more on my cool score in that I absolutely despise the design and the look of it, but I do have to appreciate that it was a well-built model. And it was also the first Trek ship, I think, which transitioned over to CG. But it's not like you can look at it and say, and that's the point where it becomes CG.
Yeah.
And it was also the first time you really saw a Trek ship, and it was only for 2 episodes, but you saw a Trek ship take damage and then get a sense of the correlation between the inside and the outside. So on that alone, I'll give you the 3. I'm happy with that, yeah.
Cool. Okay. And then I'm going to ask for the same for interior. Well, for interior, I'm going to ask for a 4.
I think that's fair, because the interior sets are...
The sets were very good.
Yeah.
And
most of them actually ended up being on the bloody Enterprise E as well.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Dressed in various ways.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the Voyager interior looks really nice. And I like that sort of weird dining room thing. It's not quite a ready room, but it's not quite a dining room.
Thing.
Yeah, the canteen, which is a nice idea.
It's a nice bridge layout as well.
It seems like it's bigger than the Enterprise D bridge as well.
It probably is.
It just seems weird for such a small ship.
Or it could be just the fact that it's actually filmed in 16:9 as opposed to 4:3.
That's also entirely possible, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, science. Well, we're into Trek science. So whatever we gave all the other Trek ships for science, I'll just take that.
What do we give the other Trek ships?
True, but as you pointed out, this one does have biomimetic gel packs and ablative armor and transphasic torpedoes.
Well, yeah, but biological computing isn't that far away.
So I hear. Somebody was...
Biological computing, yes, but did you see those gel packs? It's like a bag of copper soup.
Just because it looks like a melted ice pop doesn't mean to say that it's actually
then it got
scientifically
cold as well.
Yeah.
Well, the Trek standard for science is 4, by the way.
Yeah. See, I think that's fair. Because it has slightly different things, but you know what? What it did do was try and update Trek and tried to incorporate new ideas.
That's fair enough, I suppose. The EMH, I like as a concept. It makes sense for if your entire medical crew die, you've got to back up. So
okay. So, over to cool score. So, go on in. I'll tell you what, we'll go backwards. So, Pete, what are you going to give it for a cool score?
I'm going to give it 1.
1? Okay. Andy?
On the basis we've already established that the theme song does count towards the ship's coolness, evidenced by the Executor, I'll give it 1 for the theme song.
Okay. I'm going to give it... Well, you know what? I'm going to give it 3. I think it's not the coolest ship, but I think all in all, I think it's a much maligned ship purely because of its crew and the show it was in. So there you go. Which gives it
a new all-time low.
A new all-time low of -2. The USS Voyager has -2.
Which, considering it had Neelix on board, it's bloody lucky to get as much as that.
I think so. So there you go.
Wow.
-2.
Sorry, Voyager fans.
I'm not. That was too good to them, yeah.
Yeah.
If I can ever muster the energy, I might just release a ranty bitch about Voyager and its crew. They annoy me so much.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I mean, the reason I fought hard for a lot of it was because I knew what I was going to give the crew for competence. But the thing was, it's like I did put myself through the ringer watching a few episodes on each season just to get a sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel your pain, though, because I had to watch my film today.
Yeah, well, that's just stupid. That's just there's no need for that.
The worst bit is the main reason I was doing it was to try and find out how many crew it had, and I still couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. So there you go. So
I think that's going to be a while before that's beaten up, if I'm honest, because we only bring out the negative scores for truly bad. I don't think there's a crew quite as bad as the Voyager one.
No, I think that takes a bit of going.
Yeah.
So, Andy, over to you, sir.
Okay, so if you thought it couldn't get any worse than being in a space station that crashes and the single most incompetent crew in the history of all of science fiction, and we include Red Dwarf in that crew list, so there you go. But yes, it does get worse. I in a fit of just not being able to think of anything else, have brought the Event Horizon.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what the worst bit is? I actually had to go and watch it again to try and answer some of the fucking questions. But you know what's even worse than that? I still couldn't answer those questions.
Did you rip out your eyes and show them to the camera and go, I have seen things. I've got such sights to show you in Latin.
Didn't you get my text message earlier going, liberate tutte me, ex infinis?
Yes, actually. Sorry, yes, I did. Yeah.
No, you didn't think that was just me texting you to say, do you want to meet for lunch? No, that was...
No,
yeah.
I just thought you'd gone nuts.
Yeah, that's pretty much standard for a Friday, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, let's just try and get through this as quickly as we can and hopefully retain our sanity along the way. The Event Horizon is a spaceship as featured in the film of the same name, directed by Lee's favourite director, Paul W. S.
Pratt.
And in universe, the ship was the ship's gravity drive system was designed by Dr. William Veer. The ship is 2,200 meters long, significantly dwarfing other ships in the universe, such as the Lewis and Clark. And it was developed. As a front for a top-secret government project to create a vessel capable of FTL. I don't know why it had to be top secret, but apparently it did.
For reasons.
Because the director and writer is a fucking hack.
Yeah, yes, this might explain a lot of the problems with the film, but we'll get to that. So yes, it was developed top secret as a project capable of FTL. The gravity drive, which creates an artificial black hole to open a dimensional gateway, which makes the ship's location and destination coexist in the same space and time. Oh, bullshit! Sorry. Bit of a cough there. The ship was launched in 2039 under the command of Captain John Kilpack and headed into deep space using conventional ion drives. In 2040, it reached safe distance from Earth. Don't know why they deem that space safe distance, but anyway. It was then given the go-ahead to open a gateway to Proxima Centauri. Centauri? However, the ship vanished without a trace near Neptune. In reality, however, its faster-than-light engine to travel beyond the boundaries of our dimension accidentally send it into one of pure chaos and evil, sometimes referred to as hell at space. And the crew were killed in various horrifying, horrible ways. It's entirely possible this was actually a precursor to the Warhammer universe, and the warpaths used in that. It certainly would fit into that ethos.
Because the writer's hack.
It wouldn't be a precursor, it would be a rip-off, I think you'll find.
Well, yes. Yes.
40K had been around for a while before this.
It is true. And strangely enough, 40K then rips off from this later on as well. The circle is complete. In the year 2047, it returns to our galaxy, now self-aware, living and malevolent ship. The crew are ordered to... the crew of the USAC Lewis and Clark are ordered to go to the Event Horizon with Dr. Veer to find out what happened, find the crew, and bring the ship back to Earth. But what happens instead is the ship uses its telepathic abilities to use the crew's fears against them, killing them in the process. It then uses the form of Dr. Veer's dead wife to seduce him into assisting it. After a fight with the rescue crew captain, one played by Lawrence Who Ate All the Pies Fishburne, the Event Horizon was partly destroyed, sending the drive section back to hell with Dr. Veer and Captain Miller, leaving only 3 survivors in the lifeboat part of the ship. A little behind the scenes, Gubbins, the ship was modelled on Notre Dame Cathedral. Its long corridor resembles a church nave, and its interior is filled with cruciform shapes, columns, and vaults, and its engines resemble rotated church towers. The film miniature was 30 feet long. It's fucking huge miniature. It's massive. And the model includes a complete X-Wing from Star Wars as part of an antenna array, which is visible when the Event Horizon is doing its when the Lois and Clark is doing its first flyby of the Event Horizon. I believe the model is still in existence, and I think, although I couldn't find confirmation, it's currently on display in a museum in Germany, which also has the big-scale model of the Roger Young.
That's right, yes.
Unfortunately, my collection of Cinefex, which I acquired, didn't include number 73, which included all the Event Horizon stuff. So, there you go. Anyway, there you go. Let's just get this over.
Well, before you do that, I've got one last thing to say.
Okay.
About it, which is that I stood on the engine room. I stood in the engine room.
This explains so much.
Yeah, Where
Was it open at the time?
well,
Touched by the-
they were decommissioning it because it was the big cylindrical thing, the gravity drive thing in the middle.
But the gyroscope.
Yeah, basically they because the director's a hack. He nicked the idea for the was it space jockey room, insofar as the whole thing sitting on a cog, and therefore the wall that you see essentially is only 120 degrees, and whenever they film it, they just rotate it round and film it from a different angle. And so while they were decommissioning it, I went on there, and because I didn't have a mobile phone at the time, I didn't take any photos, but I was actually standing on board the Event Horizon.
Well, was this before or after you saw the film?
It was still being made.
I was going to say, so you didn't go and take a piss on the set then?
No, if I knew what would come from that film being any kind of a success, I would have not only set fire to it, I would have set fire to anyone who had gone near it. But also the other thing was the meat grinder, which is the corridor to the engine room, because it was spinning, and because they have a visual effect for the whole thing spinning, rotating. It's an optical illusion. And basically, it's only supposed to be like 20 feet long. Otherwise, people start getting sick. And it was like over 35 feet long. So people actually, when you see people walking down, you never see them with their eyes open. Or if you do, they walk really fast because they would actually fall over halfway down.
Well, one of the things I noticed watching it today is when they're walking through that section, you can see the fucking scaffolding and studio lights through the bloody holes.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just...
Elstree Set Studio 1C, if you want to know.
Let's just get this over with.
It's all right.
Right, size, it's 2,200. That's what, 2 kilometers. So that's 11 on the size.
11 on the size.
Hopefully that's the highest score it'll get today. Sublight, it's 1 because it's fucking ion drive shit. It takes it a year to get to Neptune.
I was going to say that's like a normal satellite we've got already.
Pretty much, yeah. FTL, it's
okay. This is
it doesn't operate as advertised, but I think we can probably peg it with the vengeful spirits plunging into Hellspawn. Yes, you can instantaneously travel between any 2 points in the universe, but there is the minor setback that your entire crew are killed and your ship comes back as a malevolent beastie trying to kill you all, which I think knocks a point off. So I think that's a 3.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to put down. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
And maneuverability a 1 just on the fact that it's not a space station.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yep.
It has no firepower at all.
No,
0.
It's a science vessel.
Yep. Why you need a science vessel that fucking huge? Who knows? But there
Reasons.
you go.
Very long science.
Yeah. Defense for active, nothing.
Nope, nothing at all.
Passive, it's tinfoil.
I would have said heavy armor, but
why would you say heavy armor?
Because it goes into a massive gravitational well and doesn't get ripped apart.
True, but it generates that itself. It's instantly at the center of that well.
But nevertheless, it's bloody 2 kilometers long, so the well is happening 2 kilometers away. Which, if we look at a normal black hole, you get spaghettification if you get even close to the event horizon and you're not quite on it.
Okay, I'll accede to the 3. Also, basing it on the fact when the corridor explodes, it's a impressive explosion, but no noticeable damage to either end of it, either side. So
yeah,
fine. Special. Can we claim a 1 on the fact that the ship can kill intruders?
Yeah, and drive.
Part of the intruders might well be its own crew.
But, I was going to say.
And drive them mad as well.
I think that's 1.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, size of the crew.
Now this was what I spent all this fucking time trying to figure out. Right now, Lewis and Clark has a crew of 7. Okay,
yes,
and is evidenced by there is 7 gravity couches for them to travel in.
And because Alien had 7 crew, because the director's a fucking hack. Anyway, sorry, go on.
I think you might have mentioned that, but yes, absolutely. Now, so I was trying to figure out, so Event Horizon is a much bigger ship, but doesn't necessarily stand to it would have a bigger crew. Now, the only references I could find, I went as far as both watching the film and reading through the script, or searching through the script, trying to find any numbers or anything like this. But all I can find is, in the grav couch bay, which they have on the Event Horizon, there are 8 grav couches there. And when the captain is giving his final sign-off, he says, "The crew's been exemplary. I want to just mention my section chiefs, my section heads." And he names 5 names at that point, which suggests to me there is a larger crew there than 6 people. But I've got no evidence of any of that. So based on our rule that if we have no evidence of anything otherwise, I'm going to assume that the crew is no more than 8, based on the fact there are 8 grav couches there. And we see at least 6 people. I wasn't going to start bloody freeze framing during those fucking graphic torture porn sequences to see if I could count people. That was not happening. I did go as far as trying to count skulls in the window, but there's only about 4 there. So
yeah,
whatever. I'm going to say it's less than 10.
Yeah, which gives us a score of what? 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, if you look at the medical centre, the couches, there's about 8 couches.
There's 6 medical bays laid out there. There's 6 medical beds laid out in medical.
Yeah.
And then there's the 8 grav couches for that. I would, if it was a ship I cared about, I might put up a fight saying it's got a larger crew based on those, but I don't, so I'm not going to. But it's all I see on the screen is that he mentions himself plus the 5 crew, so there's at least 6 there. There's 2 other possible bays for the grav catch thing, so let's just say it's less than 10, leave it at that.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Right, now competence. As easy as it would be to throw the crew under the bus for being fucking stupid, I don't think they are, certainly not Voyager level, if nothing else.
No.
I mean, I think what we have here is we do have a team of elite researchers and scientists on a research ship, just completely woefully prepared to dealing with, effectively, a rip-off of Hellraiser.
Yeah, but in fairness, that's Dr. Weir's problem, isn't it, really?
That's Dr. Weir's problem as well. But my point is, I don't think the crew, I don't think they're anything special from what we see, but I'm not going to throw them under the bus and mark them as 1 or 0. I'm going to just peg it in the middle and say 3. Nothing I see on them says to me they're massively incompetent, but equally so, nothing I see on them says to me they're any good at anything else.
No, fair enough. That's fair enough. Go for it. Cool.
Okay, realization. Now, as stupid as the entire film is in its entirety, and it is stupid of the stupidness, though, I do actually quite like the model they did of the Event Horizon. Don't get me wrong. Towers in space makes no sense at all. But I love the fact, again, this was right at the end of big-scale studio models. I think there was this and the Roger Young from Starship Troopers, and that was kind of it. And as I mentioned, the model for this is 30 feet long. And if you see the model, the detail work that goes into it, it's stunning. You can just look over that all day long. It stands really well up close.
They did cast it out of brass in parts as well.
Yeah, there's this entire girder sections going down the middle of the corridor. And again, you kind of got to respect them. They went with a design ethos. They said, okay, it's got to look like a cathedral. I mean, it looks nothing like a cathedral. The Vengeful Spirit looks like a cathedral. Event Horizon does not. But, at the same point, I think just on the strength of the model work which went into the ship and the film there, I'm going to ask for 4. The reason I'm not asking for a 5 is because I think the design's fucking stupid. It's just stupid. But
it's all too much of it's at the front.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of
seems
makes sense in that if you do have a dangerous experimental drive, you probably want it as far away from the people as possible.
That's fine, but the actual drive itself is too small compared to the front. You'd expect the front to be smaller.
Yes, but it makes a black hole for reasons with its cylindrical, whatever. Interior, right, okay. We've already mentioned there's some stupid shit going on here. First of all, let us acknowledge scale goes out of a window. There's no correlation whatsoever between what you see inside and what you see outside.
Nope.
At all. That whole corridor thing is just a massive, stupid waste of space, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the locations such as the bridge, the medical bay, and the grav couches. I think they're kind of a nice, because we've already seen those on the Lewis and Clark, and these just look like slightly more, I don't want to say advanced, but there was a bigger budget to make these places. But then you have towards the rear of the ship the fucking meat grinder.
Yeah.
Which, as we've already mentioned, you can see the bloody studio behind it.
And not only that, it spins in a way that actually will actively make basically your crew sick and fall over.
Yes, it will make your cast and crew ill. I mean, this isn't just by design. This happened. This made people ill. And then again, the whole gravity drive bit itself just seems... Well, firstly, if it's supposed to occupy the bulbous part at the rear of the ship, it's too small.
Yep.
Yeah.
For that. And it's just... It's like the entire film was built around he saw a gyroscope thing and thought, that looks cool. I need to find a reason to film it for something. You got spikes all over the place. I mean, they're a trip hazard if nothing else, as evidenced by at least 2 of the crew members die falling onto them, for God's sake.
It's got water in that. It's got water around the engine for no discernible reason.
I'll get all else purely because I've had to watch this film. They do try and explain that away, saying there was a coolant leak. But you're right. It's there just because he wanted a fucking pool around it, and it's stupid. It's if I could split it, and if I could give it a score for the front part of a ship as opposed to the rear part of a ship, I would have then get for the front part of the ship, I'd have been asking for maybe a 3 or a 4, and the rear part of a ship a 1 or a 2. I can't do that though, and there's that shitty corridor, so I'm going to ask for a 2 overall.
Yep. That seems okay.
Yeah, well, like I said before, I've been on the set, so I've seen the set, but while they were decommissioning it, mind you. But the one thing I have to say is that this is the thing that I came back to. I can't remember what ship it was, but we did a ship, and I said, there's a ship where it's just like, obviously someone's just sat there and gone, this is going to be evil. We are an evil ship. How can we make it an evil ship? And instead of just making it interestingly evil, they just go, it has got spikes, and it's got more spikes, and then the meat grinder has these sharp things whizzing around your head all the time. It's like, what the fuck kind of idiot?
You see, you're right on that, and that again comes back to what I was saying. I think if you look at the bridge section of the ship, that is kind of a tone they should have gone for. You can imagine, and as you see in the video logs, when it's clean and Unitarian, it's fine. It functions as a bridge. But when you've got the bloody blood mosaic in the windows and the frosting around the windows and the lighting's poor and the smoke and all that, it seems legitimately sinister and scary. If they'd have carried that motif through the rest of the ship, I'm fine with that. But they didn't. They did this shitty meat grindery bloody cheese grater thing.
Spikes.
Yeah, with the, and then the spinny bit and all that sort of thing. I mean, again, it is a ship of 2 halves in so much as the front half of a ship, I think, is some nice touches in there. It kind of works and it's cool. The back end of a ship, though, it's what were you thinking? And the less said about the fucking corridor, the better, which is why I'm asking for 2. It's... I don't think it's as bad as, I mean, ships which have scored 1, we're talking Button Moon ships, or the Draconia, or Nemesis,
which wasn't even drawn. Yeah.
I think 2's where we're at.
I think 2's fair.
Fair enough. I would have given it 0, but that's just me.
I'm sure you would have done. But we come to science, and I'm not even going to fight this. It gets fucking 1.
It's
fucking black hole, bloody gateways to hell bollocks. The only reason it gets to 1 is it references the ion drives and the gravity counters for the conventional drive side of it. The rest of it's just bollocks.
And when the anti-gravity isn't working, it basically has a floaty corpse in the bridge
and some very shitty CGI.
Yeah, and the science also with the guy going out into space. Oh, just close your eyes and breathe out, because that will save you.
True, but that's not really something wrong with the ship so much as your friend Paul W.S. Anderson. Or is it W. Hack Anderson?
Fucking cockend he is.
So, which brings us to cool factor. I'm going to give it 2, and that is entirely based on the strength of the model work and the design that went into that. You know, it's I like the fact it was a massive 30-foot model. They took the time. It's beautifully built. it's absolutely stunning. It's the lighting rig they set up on the thing is very cool as well. And I kind of like, again, in my kind of 40k head version, I quite like, they got little touches like the Roman numerals all over it, which just appeals to that kind of gothic nature, which I like in those sort of ships. It doesn't work in the Event Horizon world at all, but I think I like it in that sort of gothic-y sort of setup they went with there.
Okay.
Right.
What
I'm going
about
to
you,
give it
Pete?
1 because it's a half decent built model, but that's all I can give it.
So that's 3. I'm going to give it fuck you out of 10. Because I think this ship and everything it represents is just everything that's wrong with hack, crappy, think up shit on the fly, try and justify it, on the nose symbolism bollocks. Oh, look.
You realise if you had given Voyager 0, you'd have given every ship 0 for cool factor.
Did I give? Yeah, I gave. Yeah, I should have given it 0, shouldn't I? Then it would have been mine. Then it would have been -4. But no, I'm gonna. Well, yeah, I am gonna give this 0. I don't.
No, I don't begrudge you in the slightest. I know how much you love this film.
Yeah, I hate this film. No, but the thing is, what I don't like, and as I've already sort of alluded to with the other bits, it's like if it's evil. It's like, right, fine, okay, you're evil. Make it light it evil. Make it look sinister. But don't stick
do what they did with the Nostromo or the Ishimura or Sevastopol.
Or any other ship that's got a monster roaming on it. Make the environment sinister by the fact that it's a working environment and you don't know what's going on. Don't put fucking spikes over it. Don't make it out of brass and copper. Don't dirty the fucking thing up with blood, gore, and shit dripping off the ceilings and expect that to be scary. And if it goes to hell, don't slather all your screens in fucking religious iconography. It's like, oh, we've got a bridge window. Okay, what should we do? Oh, we'll make it a crucifix. Right. Why? Because it's a crucifix. Yeah, great. Okay, what about the windows off the side then? They should just be... No, they're crucifixes as well. Why? It's just so fucking blunt. It's just awful. It really, really annoys me as a ship. Because it's not a ship. It's basically shorthand.
It's a plot device.
It's shorthand storytelling.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't tell you that we've been to hell, but here's a whole load of religious iconography, work it out for yourselves. It's like, oh, fuck off, I'm not that dumb, Oh, it's just the worst. So, fuck you out of 10. I'd give it a -5 if I could.
You can't.
So, fuck you out of 10 is what I'm giving it. 0. So, yeah, there you go. So, the Event Horizon, the Cement Horizon, has 35 points, which means Pete has actually won.
The world has gone wrong.
Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria.
Second is the Event Horizon with 35 points. And sitting proudly at the bottom is the USS Voyager with -2.
Number 2, yes.
-2.
Yes. Which I still think is entirely too generous.
Well, there you go. So, it just leaves us to say thank you very much to everyone for listening. And before we go, let's just give you all what we're going to do for the next episode, next full episode. Well,
how do you guess what the theme is?
Yeah.
I just realised because the next episode is episode 17.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You see what I did there?
17. Yeah, nice. And it's shame it's not coming out on the 1st, is it? Because then
it is, but it's coming out as close as we can do to another important date.
Yes. So, which is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek.
Oh, yes.
And so, therefore, in honour of that, Pete, what will you be bringing?
I should be bringing the NCC 1701D.
The USS Enterprise. Ah, the Enterprise D. Lovely.
The Space Hotel.
Comfiest spaceship in the fleet.
Okay. And Andy, what will you be bringing?
I will be bringing the Enterprise NCC 1701. No bloody A, B, C, or D.
But it will be
the refit.
It will be based around the refit version, yes.
Okay, so there you go. Another Enterprise. Fantastic. Which means, of course...
There's a bit of a theme going on here.
Yeah, exactly. That means I am bringing the USS Swine Trek from Pigs in Space.
Pigs
in space. Yes. Captained by Captain Link Hogthrob.
Good luck on getting stats for that one.
Yeah. So there you go. So the USS Swine Trek versus the Enterprise and the Enterprise D. So,
are you sure you want to do that one?
Yes, I do.
You could do the E if you want.
No. I've turned this boat around.
He's chosen the ship that looks like a pig's head. It's David Cameron's favourite ship.
Exactly.
Holy crap.
Yep, the USS Swine Trek. By fucking jingo, it will do well.
At least you go first next week, that's all I can say.
Fair enough.
And indeed the following time as well.
and for the second time round. So, there you go. So do join us for our Star Trek 50th anniversary celebration.
Yeah. Piss on that parade, why don't you?
I'm going to take a curly whirly Mr. Whippy shit on the desk.
You can tell he's had enough at this point.
He's the guy who brings hog lumps to a bloody bar mitzvah, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm playing out with the troll music. It's happening now.
Yeah, there you go. So, do join us for that, and do join us on our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/SpaceDocJury, and of course also keep in contact with us on Twitter, which is @SpaceDocJury, which is still doing wings and things, isn't it, at this point?
Here we are, yes.
Lovely.
It might not be by the time this comes out.
Well, no, maybe not, but we'll see how it goes. So, until then, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Ta-da!
Cheery bye.
Do that.
Pigs in Space!
Space Doc Jury is a production by 3 Angry Beards for GeekPlanetOnline.com.